All right, on my quest for vacuum pods, I did a lot of looking around on YouTube, and this guy right here, his name is Jamie. I thought it was Michael, but it's Jamie, and he's on YouTube. Do a search for vacuum clamping pods, and this is the name of it, and it's by Smedley Wood Design, and basically he's got all the links here for the files. This is the Thingiverse files. And if you click on that link, that'll take you right there to it. And you can download the thing. It's on a vertical position, so you have to rotate it. On mine, I had to rotate it and just put it back up, down on the you know down on the table of the 3D printer. Basically, I just used Tinkercad to turn it around and put it down the base. And then I did order some of this foam tubing, and to try that, I've been using Lowe's uh, weather stripping. It's got a little adhesive back one side. It's not quite round. It's like half round and then a flat spot. It's kind of like a dual lane road kind of deal. You peel them apart and get two pieces out of one. Their hose pipe, Lowe's has that. I just use a 1/4 inch polyester tubing, and the vinyl tubing that they have right below the shark fittings. It doesn't fit that, so get the poly. And then the push connect tube fitting. If you buy this thing, you'll save about 50% on your fittings or better. Um, I probably got $60 in fittings, and you can get the whole kit plus a lot more with this link here and get it. Then I'm using a vacuum pump from Harbor Freight. Um, it's the 3.0 unit. I bought it. I spent a lot of time messing with it. Several clamps or several gauges and fittings. Uh, Also, the oil started misting on me when I really got it down to really clamping hard, and so I built a filter for it. And the filter worked great for the first hour or two, and then it started steaming through the filter again. So I'm going to try and redo that a little bit. Also, may just mount the thing up on the wall and drill a hole and let it vent outside. So that's it. I've also been using mineral oil for my set. And then this pipe and tie set, you'll basically need this to tap these plastic 3D printed. They're a 1/4 by 18 thread, and they're a tapered thread. So a little bit different. You get that from Harbor Freight, of course. Anyway, so that's kind of the adventure that I've taken with that. And I looked at a lot of other different sets, uh, and I built one out of one of these out of the particle board. Particle board is not a good stuff, even when I sealed it. I do have some HDPE. I might try and make another one out of it. Probably work with the but I wouldn't want to make anything. These I wouldn't want to make them out of anything but some plastic or HDPE or something that's doesn't let air flow through it. These would hold some, but out of particle board, but they didn't hold like this unit does. This thing here is amazing. Uh, the gasket fits in that little groove there, and the screw right here. Also, whenever you put this down, I've just used a little screw and a washer. You can get some leakage through that. Also, highly recommend a gauge. Get one of the uh, vacuum gauges. The regular gauge doesn't work. And also a filter. I bought a filter from Harbor Freight, and it's got a little bleeder valve at the bottom. That when that vacuum comes on, it'll start bleeding, so it'll suck the bleeder valve up. So that's not the right thing to have. I'm thinking maybe put a hose on the end of it and a cap on it to keep it from losing any air. Anyway, I did take it out of the system, but I do need to put something back in there. They do make some oilless pumps, which would probably be kind of nice, and you don't have to worry about that. But they're $300, $400 for them. Um, I didn't, I just went with a Harbor Freight. It was $140 or something, $150. Anyway, that's kind of where I'm at with that. And all right, this thing printed for about 6 hours or so.
and I run out of the other. Decided to put on it was almost empty. Put on a new one. This is just PLA. I've been using the Eco stuff, which is supposed to be good. So I just made it out of PLA. It's kind of a sample trial thing. So we'll see how this thing goes. Okay, I just made these. I'm testing. This is not near the section that this little 3D printed doing. I don't even have the right gasket in it. Same gasket material. The difference between the plastic and the MDF, but it doesn't hardly stay on there. What I'm going to do is I can just about pitch this tabletop off with that other one. So it's sticking, but it's not near as tight as the other one with the same going on there. That's this piece of vinyl. Okay, so I've got a little bit of stickiness going there. Let me switch it over to the other side. Okay, this is a 3D printed one that I printed last night. It took about 7 hours. I'll draw it down. As you can see, I'm about to lift the whole table up. In fact, I can't lift it up with everything on there, so it's not letting loose. I mean, I'm trying everything I do to lift it. I'll turn that power off on this. Set it down. And anyway, that little gizmo is flat pulling down the vacuum. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of that and seal this and see what kind of difference it makes. So let me seal that with the coat. Alright, I just sealed that with some just crystal clear enamel. Put a nice wet coat on it and went around it. Neighbors will probably think I'm nuts. But anyway, I'm going to seal that, put a couple coats on it, and go back to it. Okay, I put 2 heavy coats on that. Let that dry for about 5 minutes, and I'll turn it upside down. I haven't spent any time machining this. It's just mechanically doing its thing. So I'm going to seal it up and see what kind of a section we get out of it. Okay, I'm just experimenting. This thing hit it out of the park right off the bat. If I put a board on, piece of oak on there or plastic, I'd let this whole tabletop, and that's 30 pounds, 40 pounds. Well, I can't lift it. Let me put it that way. It stays on there, so there's no getting it off of there once it's on there. This is just some Lowe's, you know, that double bead stuff that you get in there. It's hollow in the center, and it's actually working. I did order some cord for this, but this one's actually working super well. It just drags it down. This one here, it's I pulled it off there. I need to just cut a brand new one because it's not sticking. But I pulled it off there. But anyway, I had sealed this with a couple coats of crystal clear enamel. We'll see how that works. I may try a little something different with it for sealing it, but we'll see how that goes. We'll let it dry for a little bit and then try it again. Okay, I tried the particle board block. I sealed it with a couple coats of crystal clear enamel. I tried this gasket, I tried some of this gasket on it, and this is the only thing that I've tried with this. This is superior. I mean, once this thing hasn't, I mean, you can lift the table up with this. That's a 3D printed deal I got off of the internet, and this weather stripping from Lowe's. And anyway, so I tapped that and put that in there. That's a 1/4 inch pipe thread by 18. So, you know, that's something you have to get is the right thread. And anyway, so I've been working on this block thing. It'll stick, but it doesn't do anything like this thing. This thing's like, it draws that thing down to where that thing just starts blowing oil all over the place. So this is dead on, good seal. And like I said, I've got to lift the card up before I can get it off of there. So that's a lot of weight. It's full index of drills, and it won't let loose. So I can't pick it up. I can't get it off there once I fire it up. I'll just put a little foot pedal down there on the bottom of it, fire it up, and whenever it's just sitting there with nothing on it, course, there it is there. And, you know, you can just pick it up like that. Pull that thing down. That thing will start going down. And you can't get it off of there. You can twist a little bit, but that's just the jig spinning because there's just one screw. But man, it flat gets down there, and all that is some of this, which I wasn't sure what was working. And but anyway, that's working perfect. I got another one of them printing right now, so I might print a couple more through the night, get them tapped, and then I'll have like 4 of them. All right, well, this thing was misting all over the place, and I didn't like it. And so I looked on the web, and they had different methods of fixing it, and some of them did certain things. That's kind of what I did. Now, this is not a standard 3/4 inch pipe thread. It's finer thread. But if you work on it and you're gentle with it, you can get a pipe to go on there. I probably will have to hunt something that's a little bit different or tap it out to that same pipe thread, NPT thread, because that other one is definitely a finer grade, but that one will actually go on it. As soon as I put this on there, I was getting misting like crazy. What I'm doing is I'm doing a pod setup, and the pod's working great. You can lift that table up with all 4 of them going. I mean, that's how much hold down. I don't have the exact gasket material in there just yet, but this is just some of that tubing you get from Lowe's. It's like two lanes of that, and you know, that's I mean, it works, but I'm waiting for the rubber seal to come in for that, or the neoprene seal, or whatever it is. We'll try that. This actually does work pretty well. Anyway, if you like, you know, it lifts this whole top off with the generator and everything if you go to pulling on it. So it's anchored pretty well. But anyway, this little guy here is just a 3/4 inch screw nipple with a sliding coupler. There's a little bitty piece of 1 inch pipe inside that goes into a bushing, that goes into another bushing, that brings it back out to this 2-inch pipe. And then there's a piece of 2-inch pipe in there, and then this cap. And then inside of that, I use some of that green, it's a Brillo type pad. It's a green pad. What is this thing called? Scotch Brite. Just get some Scotch Brite and put that, and I basically made a round washer down here that fits inside there, and one at the top, and then I filled this with this cotton t-shirt, and just filled it up in there, stuffed it in there, getting tight. And before I had oil all over everything, and now with this thing being compressed down, I'm not seeing any oil at all. So and the way it is, it'll drain back down in there once it gets full. I am using some mineral oil as a pump oil. Don't really care if there's some that said that you can use it. Others said no. I'm going to go ahead and use it because it's, gosh, it's look just like the stuff that I put in there. But I don't know if that was a synthetic. This is natural. So anyway, but so I topped it off, and I'll watch it for a little bit. Got a gauge coming. This is just a standard air pressure gauge. I didn't realize that it was, I mean, I figured there was something different because, you know, but anyway, this little $5 gauge I bought here is for pressure, and I'm not going to use it. So I'll take it off of this fitting and put a vacuum gauge in there up to 30, what do they call it, ounces of mercury, whatever they call that thing. And this is just a filter for any junk that would come in the line. So then it's coming back into that. So that works pretty good. I did use like a little compression coupler fit on top of that. All that is just a compression coupler, and then I come off with just the hood, and then I brought it back out to where it hits the threads, the standard threads for nipple, and then brought it back down. So that worked out real well on that. And there's a check valve in the bottom of this thing here, so I see some of the guys are pulling the thing out, but don't recommend you pull that check valve out of there because there's a check valve in the bottom of this. And I was going to put in a different nipple in there, and I pulled it out. I'm going to have to use that check valve, but I ended up pulling the handle out, pulling that out, and so I got familiar with the pump pretty quick. but put it all back together and it works fine. But that misting thing was definitely driving me crazy, and I didn't like that at all, and I haven't seen any mist since I put that little filter on there. So there you go. There's your filter and the pod system. And Mike on YouTube, he's one that made these up in Fusion 360 and put it on Thingiverse for it to download. And it is a cat's meow as far as that. You can get leakage right here through that. I'm going to put a dab of silicone in there or use an earphone plug in there, the hearing protector plug, stick it down in there. Or just, a little bit of deal. I might just shoot a little bitty piece of caulking down in there because I'll probably use these as my clamp fixture boards, the particle board ones. So that's that. And then, of course, I just use the splitter, split it. I did get a little valve over here that I can put on it, but I've got that over here. So I was kind of using it as a cap to get it to where I can shut it off. So anyway, got this project going and waiting on some cord and another gauge, and we'll have this one lit, ready to go. Alright. So when I press that down, I'm getting 10 to 12 on it. And I'm pulling up with everything I get on it to pull that off of there. This thing here is not too bad. I can pull it off of there, but I've got a leak right here. So whenever that is leaked up, then it's good. Let's throw a piece of walnut on there. But if you get to like 12 pounds up in here, and you're doing pretty good. That's 4 clamps running. These over here, I just can't even pull that off. These over here, I can get to the point where I can start pulling it a little bit. But, I'm just pulling up on it hard. And, of course, I've got leverage on that one. But just pull that out of there. And try it like this. And you learn a little bit about different kind of woods, how they seal, how close to grain it is. This has got a finish on the back side of it, so it holds in there. But anyway, the gauge is definitely something that's really handy. Also, these little inline valves right here are kind of nice, because you can I'm basically just shut this off right here to this, and so you can control it. And I've got the center plugs plugged. And then to get it to grab again, just turn that valve on like that. Give it a push. It's back holding that. Now, to get this, to check, and I can get this down to 29, 30 by simply just putting a cap on this guy right here, and I'll put the valve right there, and then it'll pull down to 30 immediately. So the pump is doing just fine, and the filter seems to be doing pretty good right now. So, and folks, that's some pretty good clamp pressure. With 4 pods running back in there. Doing pretty good.
All right, the system as it is right now is working real good. I've got 4 pods running. You definitely want to get one of these glycerin vacuum gauges. Tells you when you have leaks. I plugged the end of that little bleeder valve with a little hose and stop on it. Seems to be working. And the oil filter, the verdict's not out on it just yet. So we'll see how that goes, and on to the rest of the video. Made for the Harbor Freight vacuum pump. It'll fit the 3.0 or the 2.5. Basically, the threads on this are different than the threads on the standard 3/4 inch. It's almost like between a 5/8 and whatever. So I modified the threads over here, and then I made a tube for it to fit on top of that, and then I made a hole for that to fit down in there, and then I combined them together, and then I put the plug inside there to make the hole for this. So I've saved this under Tinkercad. You can download this under Harbor Freight vacuum cap MOSFET thread in Harbor Freight. Anyway, it's under Mark Jones profile. And anyway, I did screw the thread into my machine. It works great. You need to use a little bit of nylon tape or some pipe dope. And this is for the filter that goes on it. My thoughts on this is probably that I will either pipe this outside, put it on a shelf on the outside garage wall, put an elbow on it, and pipe it straight outside, just for venting. Right now I have a vent pipe that I use, schedule 40 pipe, and it's in my video. But anyway, so there you have it. All right. Well, I've printed about 3 or 4 of these off, and it's kind of funny. You know, what you think works sometimes doesn't work on the 3D printer, but I've printed out 3 or 4 of these off, and what I've ended up doing was taking this and making the base bigger and not putting a hole in there because I was getting warpage with my PLA, and I really haven't used much PLA. I've used a lot of the Eco ABS, and I just never experienced any shrinking on it. Well, I was having shrinking with the PLA, and it was moving around on me. So instead of putting a hole in here, I went ahead and let me just show you here from the bottom. I left that hole in there, and it's putting spacer material in there, and that walls are pretty thick, so I'm not having trouble with that part at all warping now, and that fits perfectly on the 3/4 inch pipe. And then my threads right here, I'm printing this from this side upside down from what the other one was, and it's building some light stuff in here for supporting. And then after this gets out and it looks like it's going to plug, then I'm going to drill a hole in here and with a drill bit. But I started printing with the very best PLA settings, which made like my walls thicker, my plates thicker, and I made one as a draft and knew that it was going to fit, and just that it was too light duty for it to be working there. So I'm printing one on that, and once I do that, I'll probably cut another hole in one of this in this thing here, and see if I can get it to print that way. So anyway, that's kind of what I'm up to doing, and we'll just see how she comes out. I'm going to beat the band. This little valve, I'll probably get one more valve for the end of this and tie the two together. I've got more hose on here than I need just because I'm trying to leave it a little bit long so I can go like 3-4 feet apart. And I'm probably used for this will be my CNC machine, also for sanding. So I've seen one of the guys that's used a little dovetail clamp that slides underneath in there. That might be a pretty good way of doing it, or just screw it down to the tabletop. But these are kind of fixed up as a pod. I'll just turn that thing off right there. It's real easy to lift that up off of there. But these are screwed down into that right there, and you do need to seal that with probably silicone would be better than the earplugs. I was just trying the earplugs out, but they're not sealing the way I want them to be sealed. But anyway, and if you got any kind of a leak, that thing will be way down there. As soon as you plug that leak, it'll build up. You'll be able to find out where your leak is. And just a matter of resetting that over. I went from 7 to 9 pounds, but
pretty good. I mean, I'd like to see you try and pull them off there. There we go. But as you've got a leak, the thing went down like that. As soon as I cover that up with my finger, there it is. And like that. So as soon as you cut off half of your deal, you get down to one pod and it'll get up to like 18. So it works pretty good. If I'm doing batch work and I'm doing like a bunch of plaques and all I need to do is the faces, that will work pretty good. I don't think I would use these when I'm cutting down into spool board, but when I've got parts that's already sized and everything's going to be on the face, I think these will work pretty good. For sanding, they're going to be working really slick because, man, it's just a matter of hitting the lever, holding it down, sanding, doing whatever you're doing to it, or drill or whatever, then turn that off there and up she comes. So pretty sweet. All right.